Are we live? Live on YouTube. Are we live? Hey folks, good afternoon. It's Thursday and this is 5 minutes with the Weatherman, and this is a quick topic. And the topic of today is, why is this the best time for buyers to buy in the seller's market? So we're hearing all these topics and all these questions about where we're going, recession and all this, and interest rates and all that. So this is my opinion only, and I've been in the market for a long time, but one thing I do feel very strongly about, the reason I think it's the best time for buyers to buy right now is because there are a lot of buyers out there that are nervous because of payments and interest rates. And so when you have 1,000 buyers, let's just use for a number, an example, you have 1,000 buyers and 60% of those are pumping the brakes, it gives you a better advantage in the marketplace. And so what is a better advantage in a marketplace? A better advantage in a marketplace is not necessarily getting the house price cheaper, but it's giving you a little bit of leverage. It's giving you some security. It's giving you a sense that I feel like I made the right decision. So in Murfreesboro, we are still in a seller's market for sure. We still have probably a month's supply on the market, which half of that is probably new construction, which half of those are probably not even started yet. And now what we're looking at is everybody's kind of pumping the brakes thinking, well, our interest rates are too high. Well, guys, so here's the rule of thumb that we need to look at. So 3 months ago, you would have to pay $50,000 over on some houses and $20,000, $25,000 over appraisal, no inspection, no appraisal, let them live in the house, give them all the furniture out back, the trampoline, the refrigerator, the camper out back, everything, you name it, they could get it in this market.
Because you get their dog.
Get their dog too, if you want it. So, but now, guess what? So now what you get in this market is you get an opportunity to pay full price. Now, I'm not saying you get an opportunity to buy it less. You get an opportunity to pay full price, and you get an opportunity to get a home inspection, and you get an opportunity to make sure that you're not paying over value. Because what happens whenever our market kept going up? So our market has reached kind of a plateau, in my opinion. I'm not saying that it's not going to keep going up. I think we just went up so fast, and when interest rates hit, it did like this. And so now what happens when our interest rates go back down to 4? It goes back up. So then that 1,000 people that were sitting over here, the 600 aren't buying, are back in the market, and we're back again into 20 offers, 30 offers, multiple offers, having to give up everything that you want. Today, right now, you have an opportunity, you have more inventory. Now, so what does that mean? Does that mean you get to look at 100 houses? Absolutely not. That means you may get to look at 3 or 4. But it does mean that you get some security in knowing that you can do an inspection on the house, that you feel good about it. And if there are some repairs, that you could probably get those fixed. And if the house is overpriced or it doesn't come in at appraised value, then you can negotiate it back down. So now that makes you feel like you made a more wiser decision, and it should make you feel good. What anybody knows that if you bought 3 to 4 to 6 months ago and some of the things you had to do, you just felt like I really wanted a house so bad that I felt like maybe I made a mistake. I felt like maybe when I got in the house, I overpaid. And why do we think that we overpay? Because people around us, whether it's friends or families that bought 10 or 15 years ago, told us you shouldn't have done that. Well, guess what happens if you did? Josh Harrell, what happens if you didn't do that? If you didn't pay over and do no appraisal and no contingencies, would you have got a house? No, because there were so many people that were willing to do that. And then we were dealing with a lot of iBuyers. So now the other thing that brings us to the thing is, so everybody knows the stock market kind of went down below at one of the lowest. So what does that mean for our iBuyers? They stopped buying because they're hedge funds. So now we don't have to compete with all those cash offers. So now, folks, if you're out there looking, now literally is your best time to possibly buy in the market. So I'm going to end with this great nugget right now. So don't worry too much about where the interest rates are. If they used to be at 3.5 and they're at 5.5, you're 2 points difference. The coolest thing about it is whenever you ask the seller to pay closing costs, guess what you can do with those closing costs? you can buy the rate down. So now you can actually get that rate down a lot lower. You don't have to pay over appraisal. You don't have to bring that extra cash out of pocket. So there's so many other options that you have right now in the market, and you do get to look at a few more houses. We were having to buy houses without even seeing them. So now we're still in a seller's market, but because mainstream media kind of will predict what a lot of people think and scare us, people pump the brakes, and we have vacation and holidays. Now you're going to start seeing more people catch on to this, and then as soon as they start catching on to this, then we're going to be right back into it. And why? Because Murfreesboro is one of the greatest places in the United States to live, because it's a fact that we're the number one small city in the United States, and people are moving across the nation from all over to move here. Why? Because our taxes are lower, because we have a close international airport, and because COVID changed the dynamics of our workforce, and you can work from home. So you don't have to pay the high taxes in Chicago. You can literally work from home in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and go down to honky-tonk-ville, Nashville on the weekends and have a big time and pay, instead of 11% tax, you can pay a 1% tax in the city of Murfreesboro. So guys, don't let the rates or the media or any of those things bother you. Realize right now your competition is fell off by 50% only for a minute. Because it's not but for a minute that people start picking up on why it's better to go ahead and buy again. So I know that people are out there thinking, well, I don't want to pay this interest rate. Well, guess what? A 5.5 is not a bad interest rate. And I don't know what they are. I'm just throwing a number out there. Everybody says, well, I know somebody that's got a 2.5. Well, 2.5s are fake. I mean, they're non-existent. They happen sometimes, but you don't see those very, very often. And so a 3 or 4 is wonderful. A 5, 5.5, a 6 is fantastic. A 7 is not bad. We're not anywhere near the 8, 9s, or 10. So take advantage of right now, because we have so many new constructions on the market, because also that builders didn't want to list their houses until they got so far along. But now then the rates went up. They felt like we were kind of in this debacle. They started listing their houses. So guess what builders are doing now? They're paying some closing costs. They're doing some incentives. So now, even though you're in a seller's market, you're actually getting some incentives that you did not get before. So guys, always remember there's two sides to look at everything. Don't look at it from the negative point of view. Look at it from is it optimistic? Optimistic. Don't be pessimistic. Be optimistic and figure out a way to make sense of the situation we're in. We're in a great city. We're in a great place to live. You've got some inventory now to look at. Do we have a lot of inventory? Absolutely not. But you know what? You do get to look at a few houses, and you do have an opportunity. Where houses were on the market for 1 to 3 days before they went under contract, now they may be on the market 10 to 14 days. So you've got a little bit of time to drive around and look at 2 or 3. And when you find something you like, then you got some leverage to say, okay, I do want some closing costs. I do want to get a home inspection. I would like to have an appraisal just for security, just to make me feel better. And then chances are you've got a good chance of winning that. And so look at the glass as half full, not half empty. And so remember, if you've got somebody out there looking and they're thinking, well, hey, I don't want to buy right now, the rates are too high. Well, hey, right now is your best time to buy. Would you rather have a low rate and have to do all the things you had to do before? Or would you rather have a little bit higher rate, which only amounts to a couple $100 a month, and then get the house you want and not have to have 25 people that you compete with? So remember that, folks. And the main thing is we do not have to compete with iBuyers nowhere near. Now, the iBuyers are not gone away, but they've slowed way down. And it's very hard to beat an iBuyer, which is a cash buyer that just buys them sight unseen and rent them. And so those will beat you out 9 times out of 10. They're not our competition anymore. Now you have an opportunity to go out and buy. So guys, this is 5 minutes with the Weatherman. Always remember, just when everybody thinks that the market's doing this and everything's going awry and everything's going sour, I'll give you this fact. 2 days ago, we had 740 houses on the market. It was about half and half. You had about half new construction, half existing. The very next day, we had 690, which means we sold 50 houses in one day on a Tuesday. So the market is still selling very fast. And out of those 50 people that bought, they probably got some incentives. So guys, this is your time. If you're buying and you felt like you need to pump the brakes and wait, don't wait. Now's your time that you have an opportunity, is what I like to call it. So be pessimistic. Think about what your options are. Optimistic?
Yeah. Be optimistic.
Oh, what did you say? Pessimistic?
Yeah, I said pessimistic.
Okay, optimistic. Be optimistic.
Yeah, I said
In other words, be positive. Be positive and know that there's always a way to look at it and figure out a way to make sense of it. Don't worry about the rate at all. The rate shouldn't phase you. The main thing is you shouldn't have to do the things we were having to do 3 to 4 or 5 months ago. We can do things now that makes us feel a little more comfortable about it, especially for first-time home buyers that has a family that need a house, that their rent was going up. They was having to get money out of 401k, borrow money from families, and do the things that realistically you was going to have to do to get it. Now you may not have to do that as much. I do feel like that's coming back, so I would take advantage of what we got going on right now. So guys, this is 5 minutes with the Weatherman. Remember, be optimistic about the market. The market is the best time right now for a buyer to buy in a seller's market. So guys, have a great day. See you soon. I will see you again next week with another 5-minute topic from AKA the Weatherman. See you soon.